class. So as you can see, we're not in our regular classroom today. Where do you think we are? Why do you think we're here? Look around. What do you think this place is called? Have you ever been to a place like this? Maybe a ranch or at the lake? Yeah, it looks like this. Very good. Well, this area is called an ecosystem. And an ecosystem is where organisms like animals, bugs, birds, rodents, and living and non-living things live together to survive. So what do you think is non-living in this area? That's right. There's dirt that's non-living. What else? Rocks. Very good. Rocks are non-living. You can think of anything else. The water. Very good. Yes, the water's non-living. And even the air that the animals and plants use here is non-living. So the ecosystem is the combination of living and non-living things using each other to survive. So we have these plants here. Who do you think needs the plants or these tall grasses? That's right, rabbits, even birds. That's right, birds need these tall grasses to make their nests. And what about in the water? Who do you think lives in the water? Fish. Very good. And look, you can even see many turtles that live in there. There's probably worms. Very good. Yes. Everything that's alive in the water and outside of the water is part of the ecosystem. They all need each other. Now, why do you think the fish or the turtles need the animals or even the people that come and visit this ecosystem? Well, the reason why, look at all these turtles. You see how they're gathering around? When people come to this ecosystem or animals come to this ecosystem, they drop things in the water. And the animals that live in the water, fish, the turtles, they come and they scavenge for the food that has been dropped in the water. Now, what else could these animals eat? What else do they need to survive? Very good, yes, the bugs that fly around over the water. These turtles, I'm sure, would snap up and bite them, right? Now, can you tell me what other foods that the animals in the water or outside the water might need, or where they would get it from? Very good, yes. The birds, they'll come down to the water and maybe look for little worms, right? Some tracks down there of deer tracks and raccoon tracks. What do you think they eat? Does anyone know? That's right, the deer eat this grass. The raccoons probably try to catch little baby fish. Maybe even, what amphibian might live here? Who remembers any amphibians? That's right, turtles and frogs. Well, the turtle is a reptile, yes, that's very true. And frogs and lizards, the birds and scavenger animals like raccoons or mice will come down here and look for those kind of creatures to eat. Now, the reason why everything works so well, and look, it's so green here. Why do you think it's so green? Very good, because there's a lot of water here, and it probably rains pretty well, and even if it doesn't rain pretty well because there's a water source, everything is green and lush. The trees, you see the trees, they're real green. So this ecosystem is very healthy, meaning there's plenty of food, plenty of water, plenty of oxygen. Now, what other things do you think this ecosystem needs for these animals to survive? We are missing one thing. We have food, we have water, we have air. What are we missing? There's shelter here. Who has shelter here? Who can tell me where the shelter would be? Very good, yes. There's birds have the shelter on the trees. And what is their shelter called? Nests, very good. Now, what other shelter? Tell me something else. Inside the water, the fish have their shelter in the water. Their homes are in there, probably under a rock. Very good. The rodents, they would also probably have their shelter inside here in these little crevices. They probably have holes or make little nests in there. What else? What else could live out there? Maybe over there by the trees, there's some deer or the wild hogs. We can't see them, and thank goodness we can't see them because it's not safe for us to bother them. That's why we're kind of not too close to the water and not too deep where it's very brushy, because we want to be safe and we want the animals that live in this ecosystem to feel safe because we're in their home. This ecosystem is their home. This is not our home. Where do we live? That's right, we live in our house. Very good. So you wouldn't want someone to just that you don't know go into your house. So we have to be very, very cautious of other of animals' environment and ecosystems. But so now that we've discussed what animals live in the water and what animals live outside the water, where their shelter is, where they get their what? Their food, very good. And the air is very clean and the water seems very clean. What do you think would happen? What if something was missing from this ecosystem? What if the water was very, very low? Almost bare. What do you think would happen to all the animals, even the plants in this ecosystem? Very good. They would die. Most of the animals, most of the plants in this ecosystem would die. Everything in an ecosystem needs to be equal. There needs to be an equal amount of water, an equal amount of animals living here, trees and food sources. Everything has to work together. If something is missing or if there's very little of something, an ecosystem will not survive. The animals and the bugs and the grasses will not survive if something is missing. Because let's just say you're at your house and you don't have food. What happens if you don't have food? That's right, you go hungry. You can't be living in your house without food. You need food to survive, to grow, to get strong. Well, everything in this ecosystem, whether it's a tiny bug, whether it's a little ant on the ground, even the big fish or the deer, that we haven't seen any deer today, but they're here because we could see the tracks. If they don't have food, so if something is missing in an ecosystem, not all the animals, including bugs, up to the deer, will survive and want to live in this ecosystem. We're going to be here for a little while longer, and I'm glad everyone brought their journals, and I'm glad everyone has a magnifying glass. So together, everyone stay together with their buddies. We're going to observe with your magnifying glass, look in the floor, and together, 2 by 2, I'll take a few of you down to the water so you can look as not in the water but close by the water. I want you to observe. What do you see? What things do you see at the edge of the water? And then look past, not with the magnifying glass because you might not be able to see it well, but you could try. Look past the edge and tell me what you see. I want you to think. I want you to keep it in your mind and in your journal, real quickly jot down some notes of everything that you see. Whether big or small, it's all very important. So we're going to be journaling everything that you see in this ecosystem, okay? Because we're going to need it for our lesson later. We're going to compare the ecosystem, this freshwater ecosystem, with your home ecosystem. Your home ecosystem would be your neighborhood, your community. Compare the similarities, what's similar, what's different. Okay, so here you're going to write down and journal everything that you see. Oh, look at that beautiful bird. See, that's another part of the ecosystem. He's just flying by, but he knows it's safe here. There's food here, so he's going to stop by, or just maybe he landed on a tree somewhere. Anyways, so I need you to write down notes of anything you see. Now, some of you are going to go with our teacher aide to another section, and some of you will stay here with me so we can get closer to the water. 2 by 2s, remember, we need to practice safety. No horsing around, no playing around. This is very important. We don't want to disturb somebody's home, the animal's home. We don't want to scare any animals that might come rushing out and say, what's happening? what's all this noise? You have to be very quiet and very cautious. Look over there at that bird with the red spot, on its chest. Isn't that beautiful, class? Look at that. That is a beautiful bird. I don't know what it's called, but write that on your notes. We'll do some research. We'll do some research on what it's called. We found a beautiful black bird with a red and yellow spot on its wing. That's a wonderful research project that we can do. We could study the birds that are in this ecosystem. So you've got a lot of material here, class, and I want you to write as much notes, be as detailed as possible. Use describing words. Use adjectives like tall, green, lush grass. Very veiny trees. Beautiful black with red bird. You know, just use your describing words. And is the water clear? Is it murky? You know, be as descriptive as possible. Does anyone have any questions? No? Very good. Okay, so like I said, we're going to journal, and then we're going to compare and contrast this ecosystem with the ecosystem of your home and community. Okay? Very good.